welcome to another episode of Worlds Collide. I'm Justin.
And I'm Mitch.
And today we bring you Bary Allan's The Flash.
Well, tonight we're going to be talking about Bary Allan's origins, his various appearances outside the comic books, and also some notable stories to check out and to expect in possible future spoilers.
Yeah, possible future spoilers, because we have a big event coming up in terms of the Arrowverse.
Yep.
So we'll touch on all that in a little bit, and why don't you start us off with, you said his origin?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Bary Allan's origin, if anybody's watching the Flash TV show, it's actually pretty faithful to the comics. Sort of.
There's a few points, and we'll touch on them, I know.
Yeah.
One is Gorilla Grodd's kind of interaction with him, but...
I'll let you talk about that part, but...
Yeah.
So, Bary Allan's origin is his mother died when he was a child, and his father was blamed for the murder because there was no sign of forced entry, and there was blood all over him, so the cops thought that he killed Bary's mom. Bary never believed it, so Bary decided to go study in forensic science to become a forensic scientist to try and disprove his father's guilt. The difference between the show and the comics, though, is that in the comics, his father died while still in prison. He never got a chance to save his father.
Yeah.
Where in the show, he actually managed to save him.
His father's come into play in multiple other episodes afterwards.
Yeah. He did eventually die in the show, but...
Mm-hmm. I like how in the show they have Jay Garrick.
Yeah, look exactly like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's his doppelganger of sorts, right?
Yeah.
Which
is a good actor, so he's good pick to play Jay Garrick.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So speaking of which, before we get too deep in the Flash, Bary Allan, regarded as the first Flash, but he's not really the first Flash. Jay Garrick is the first Flash.
Bary Allan's the first Flash that we saw in the Silver Age of comics.
Yes.
But we later learned that there was a Flash earlier in history.
Yes. Well, not later on. Like, when you say later on, it makes it sound like it was retcon. But no, Jay Garrick was the Flash back in like in 1940s or whatever, but then he got discontinued, and then when they brought the comics back in the 1950s, they brought it back with Bary Allan.
Yeah. So Golden Age is Jay Garrick.
Yeah.
And then Silver Age, we have Bary Allan.
Yeah. So what happened was, back in the Golden Age of comics, most of the comics, during this era, there was World War II, and because of World War II, every piece of media, including comics, was all related to the war efforts. Mm-hmm. And then when the war finished, people were sick and tired of superheroes fighting supervillains, the violence and everything like that, so it lost popularity a lot. So comics started going into the science fiction genre. Yeah.
And a different enemy.
Yeah, it was all one-offs. It was never a continual story, and it was all science fiction based, like monsters or aliens and...
That's when they started doing a lot of, like, say, Morbius came in and stuff like that.
Well, Morbius was in the 1970s, but...
A lot later, but his kind of style of
That's right. That's
character.
Right. But eventually, that started dying down as well. The sci-fi comics was starting to lose popularity. And then writers in DC Comics came up with the idea, well, why don't we try to combine science fiction with comics? Bring superheroes back, but combine science fiction. And that was Bary Allan. They decided they're going to bring back the Flash. They're not going to use Jay Garrick. They're going to create a whole new Flash with a whole new origin, basing it more on science rather than just... he's got super speed. Just being a metahero.
Because that's what Jay Garrick is, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
He has super speed from just being a metahuman, kind of like Quicksilver.
Yeah, like a mutant.
Yeah.
So, and just like they showed in the Flash show, all the Flash shows and cartoons, they've always been consistent with his origin and how he got his speed powers. Well, sort of. The show did take some liberties with the super collider. Yeah, exactly. The dark matter collision.
Everyone into metahumans.
Exactly. But in the comics, and the majority of the stories is, while Bary Allan was working on some unknown, unspecified chemicals, a lightning bolt crashed into his lab.
Yeah.
And hit these chemicals splashed over Bary Allan.
As he gets electrocuted from the lightning, right?
Exactly.
So they combined the chemicals and lightning. And
It was a perfect storm of a freak accident.
Exactly. Well put.
Then when Bary Allan woke up, he found out he's got super speed.
Yeah, how did he originally find that out? Was he not sitting in a diner and like the waitress went to spill everything and he went to kind of react fast, and before he knew it, he was kind of just putting everything back as time kind of stood still?
I think so, yeah.
I think that was his first kind of moment where he's like, holy shit, I got super speed.
Yeah. And then Bary Allan actually got the name The Flash in his continuity, he used to read Flash comics. He used to read Jay Garrick. That's where he got the name The Flash from, was from old Jay Garrick Flash comics that he used to read as a child.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now they call him, like, was it the Red Blur and different shit in the show?
Yeah. Before they finally landed on the
Flash.
Yeah. Kind of like in Smallville, Superman Clark Kent went as the Blur for...
The Blur.
Yeah.
The Blur.
Yeah. So, The Flash, Bary Allan specifically, has been a very important character in the DC landscape.
Well, he reset the timeline at one point, did he not?
Well, even before that, throughout this show, we've talked about the Golden Age and the Silver Age of comics.
Do you want to explain what each of those ages are, kind of what the time frame even is?
Well, I think I kind of have just now. So, the Golden Age of comics was from like the 1930s to the 1940s, during World War II. It was pretty much the Golden Age of comics. So, the original Superman and Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman and Captain America, even Batman, Namor the Submariner. All of these were
original Avengers, essentially.
Yeah, all of these were from the Golden Age of comics, and then the Silver Age of comics is Bary Allan is the one who ushered in. Like when Bary Allan first got introduced, which was DC Showcase number 4, 1956.
Yeah.
He is the starting point of the Silver Age of comics. So Silver Age of comics started DC Showcase number 4 in 1956.
And then boom.
Yeah, and the Silver Age of comics, I think, you would classify that all the way into
70.
Well, you would say the Silver Age of comics goes all the way to 1985 at DC's Infinite Crisis. Some people would say that Silver Age of comics, that's where the Silver Age of comics ended, because that was a big reboot in everything. Some others would consider the Silver Age of comics ended when Gwen Stacy got killed, because that was the first time a love interest has ever been killed. The superhero failed. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know exactly where you would say the Silver Age ends, but they're roughly around that time when they changed the landscape of how comics were.
Maybe what we can do is on our social media we can put up a poll and get a general consensus of what people classify as their silver endpoint. Yeah.
Another one could be the first appearance of Morbius, because that was when the Comics Code...
The ban got lifted.
Exactly. So you could say that was the end of the Silver Age of comics.
So it could be a three-way vote here. What do you think kind of ushered in the end of the Silver Age?
Yeah.
But we know who started it.
Yes.
Okay.
Bary Allan.
That's pivotal.
Yeah.
Because he actually replaced like a previous Flash.
Yes.
Who had been gone? Where did he go? Do you know?
They never really. Well, they do, but they don't really address it. So it just stopped publication. Is all it is.
He just kept running.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bary Allan ushered in the Silver Age of comics. So he's been the catalyst of many different things that we all know as a standard thing in comics now. The next thing Bary Allan ushered in is the idea of the multiverse. Because Bary Allan was the one who traveled to a different reality, and that's when he met Jay Garrick. And that's where they established that Jay Garrick, the Golden Age of comics, so Jay Garrick and Black Canary and all those characters, Dr. Fate, all of these characters are all from Earth 2. And Bary Allan and everything that we read, the Silver Age of comics, is all from Earth 1. So that was the first introduction of a different Earth.
which is wicked, and it's a great way for them to do an explain all as to how these comics existed before and these exist now, and they're not convoluted storylines.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's easy. Oh, that's a different Earth. That's a different Earth. So whatever happened here isn't affecting here.
Exactly. So like I said,
wicked.
Like I said, so Barry grew up reading comics of Jay Garrick the Flash, and then he goes to a different reality, and now he gets to meet and work with the character that he read in comics.
Which makes me ask the question: if it's on a different Earth, how does this Earth know of Jay Garrick to write comics of it?
It's just a what if.
I know, of course.
Yeah,
it's just a comics thing.
Yeah, it'd be just like you and me went to a different reality, and all of a sudden we just met Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're real.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did we know you're real over here?
Exactly. To us, you're just a character on a paper.
Yeah, and now
are we now in paper? Like, is that the other reality that we're in now?
Right?
Yeah.
Are we in the fourth dimension essentially?
Yeah,
like,
or the second dimension, technically.
Jesus. Too many questions.
Yeah.
When you start dealing with time travel and multiverses, like the Flash brings in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, well, I just mentioned it, time travel.
Yeah.
So he actually resets his own timeline at different points. He created himself.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's how cool the Flash is. At one point, he created his own history.
Yeah. Which kind of got retconned, sort of, kind of, but there was one point where it was theorized. It was theorized that, or it was a general idea that Bary Allan became the lightning bolt that struck the chemicals that turned him into the Flash.
So he made himself.
Yeah.
And from the future.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. So his origin of his mother dying and everything like that was never really touched on until this comic here, Flash Rebirth.
Well, that's the main storyline for the show. For anyone who watches the CW, the Arrowverse Flash show,
it's based off of this comic.
Based off Rebirth.
Yeah.
Where Barry, like we were saying, so Speedster goes back in time.
Yes. To
kill the Flash before he becomes the Flash. Well, Speedster kind of fucks up.
Actually, no.
Actually, you meant to do this the whole time?
Yeah. So, Eobard Thawne, the Flash's main arch nemesis,
Professor Zoom,
Professor
Reverse
Zoom,
Flash,
exactly.
Many titles, monikers.
Exactly. So, Eobard Thawne is from the 30th century or the 25th century, something like that.
Yeah.
And he grew up as a fan of the Flash. He was a super fan of the Flash. He also had a crush on Iris West.
Yeah, because she's also from the 30th century.
That's right.
So both of them 30th.
Yeah. I did not know that until I did my research today.
Right?
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, like, when I found out she's actually from the 30th century, she was
adopted here apparently.
Yeah. She got transported to the 1960s or 1950s or 40s or whatever. She got transported back in time as a child, probably to save her from a dying future, and got adopted by parents at that time, the Allans, and that's where she grew up, and then she met Barry and everything like that. But she's originally from the 30th century.
Yeah, and so Eobard has the big crush on her.
Yes.
And always kind of aspired to be the Flash.
Yes. So much so that he actually went through plastic surgery to make his face look like Bary Allan.
What?
Yeah. So this is before he time traveled. So
I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah. So Eobard Thawne even went through plastic surgery to make himself look like Bary Allan, and then he traveled back in time to meet his hero, to meet the Flash. And when he goes back in time, he goes back in time he goes back in time to a time where Bary Allan is dead. And he goes to the Flash Museum, and he finds out that himself, Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, the Flash's arch nemesis. And he snaps. He's like, but I idolize the Flash, and I'm going to become his biggest villain. He just loses it. He goes insane. And that's when he goes back in time, because he realizes that for him to exist, Bary Allan needs to become the Flash. So he goes back in time and orchestrates everything that happens that leads to Bary Allan becoming the Flash. He goes back in time to kill Bary Allan's mom. He's the one who arranged the chemicals that turns Bary Allan into the Flash. There's so many different things that he does. He goes back in time and does different things that all leads to the event of Bary Allan becoming the Flash. So you want to talk about weird paradoxes? Bary Allan being the lightning bolt that hits the chemicals that turns himself into the Flash. That's a weird paradox. But Eobard Thawne does all the events to create the Flash, so he becomes the villain of the Flash. That's a paradox on its own. I mean, like, yeah, yeah. I knew going into this, talking about the Flash was going to be a complicated thing because there's a lot of time travel. There's a lot of parallel universes. Mm-hmm. If we did an episode on Eobard Thawne, that's going to be difficult because Eobard Thawne does so much time traveling. There are multiple, like, you could kill Eobard Thawne today and fight him again tomorrow. Yeah. Because it'll be a different Eobard Thawne from a different time.
Who's gone and warned other versions of himself that this is coming, and then it's a never-ending cycle because he's so crazy about it that he's gone and warned everyone else all throughout his timeline, and it's like he knows, and he's gone to the other parallel universes, even multiverses.
Yeah, sometimes he'll meet up with the Flash, and the Flash will say something, and he'll have no knowledge of what he's talking about because it's a different Eobard Thawne.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, but he plays it off.
Yeah.
He tries to just pretend.
Yeah.
And now, an interesting thing is he doesn't run off the Speed Force the way that the Flash does.
No.
He runs off the negative force?
The negative Speed Force.
Negative Speed Force.
Yeah. He actually has the ability to slow down time. Whereas Bary Allan pretty much speeds up time. Bary Allan has that ability to speed up time.
So he's just like polar opposite.
Yeah, they are polar opposites.
That's just wild, though, that he wanted to go meet his, idol.
Yeah.
And he ends up at the museum full of all his idol shit.
Yeah.
Just to learn that, you're his biggest nemesis.
Yeah.
Snaps.
Yeah.
That's wild.
There was this story where Eobard Thawne, I think it's Eobard Thawne that ends up killing Iris West. And then Bary ends up almost marrying this other girl. And Eobard Thawne was going to kill this girl because his entire goal is to make Bary Allan's life a living hell. To kill anybody that loves him. To just
ruin his life.
Exactly. That's his goal. That's his goal. He has no other purpose. Some villains look for fame and power and money.
Riches, yeah.
Not Eobard Thawne. Eobard Thawne's sole purpose is to make Bary Allan's life.
Bary.
Yeah.
And it's just Bary.
He also,
anyone connected to Bary.
Yes, anybody connected to Bary.
Which is such a fucking dangerous villain.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the villain's just going for the world.
No.
Going for the general overall. Like, he's picking you out.
Yeah.
He can time travel.
Yeah.
He can get you at any time without, that's a wild thing.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to kill him.
No.
He just wants to make his life miserable.
Yeah. But when he goes and tries to kill this new girlfriend of Bary's, Bary tries to stop Eobard Thawne, and in that process snaps his neck.
Oh. That shit happens.
Yeah, well, because he shows up later on again. Because that just a different version of him. And then Iris ended up coming back to life, and then they end up getting married.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Iris is back.
Yeah. Because it's all this happened. Because like I said, Gwen Stacy was the first female love interest to die and permadead. Iris West did die, but she came back.
Fair.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill off too many damsels here.
No. But okay, so reason why I was really excited to talk about this is because the Flash was actually the first DC character that I ever bought a comic for.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I used to watch the show from the early 90s, I think it was.
Like the live action?
Yeah.
See, that's the one I never saw.
Yeah.
I maybe saw half an episode. The most live action Flash I saw was Ted.
Yeah. But the funny thing is that the live action Flash from the 1990, Mark Hamill played one of his villains, the Trickster.
Yes.
And then he comes back in the current Arrowverse Flash. reprising his role as the trickster.
He's much older. He has a child at this point, I think, or some wannabe apprentice.
Yeah.
But that was pretty cool. They got to reprise his role.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. However, now his voice has been kind of tainted because he's been the Joker for so long. When he plays the trickster in an Arrowverse Flash, I just close my eyes and I can. It's not the trickster. It's the Joker.
What did he play Joker in?
In the Batman animated series.
Oh, right.
And he also was the voice actor for the Hobgoblin in the Spider-Man animated series.
All animated. I thought you were meaning one of the live action.
Oh, no.
I was like, I don't remember him.
No, voice actor.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and one important thing to note, though, is that when I first started reading comics, when I started reading Flash comics, it was in the 90s. I was 11 years old, so that puts this at 1991. And by this time, Bary Allan wasn't the Flash. By this time, Bary Allan has already been dead.
Wally.
I was reading Wally West. So, and that is a common theme for majority of people who got into comics. Majority of people
started
who
with Wally?
Exactly.
Oh wow.
Because Barry died in 1985. So that's the next thing I want to talk about is the Crisis on Infinite Earth. So we talked about how Bary Allan introduced the idea of Earth 2, of multiverses. Yep. And DC has done multiple crossovers. The Justice League have made crossovers with the Justice Society from Earth 2 numerous times. And they just started to increase this multiverse idea. And in 1985, they did this Crisis on Infinite Earth, where they went away with all these different Earths and just stuck with one reality, one Earth, Earth 1. And some of the characters from Earth 2 joined Earth 1, like Black Canary is one of those characters.
It's a multi-universe collapse.
That's right. And in this event, it was all against the Anti-Monitor, which I'm pretty sure is what the event is going on. That's going on in the Arrowverse is all about.
Yeah.
Because
are you caught up?
I'm maybe 2 episodes behind now, so I need to get caught up.
But we've seen the Anti-Monitor, we've seen the Monitor, and they've been interacting.
Oh, we've seen the Anti-Monitor in the Arrowverse. Excellent. Because where I was at, I haven't seen the Anti-Monitor yet. But the fact that we have seen the Monitor makes me know that there is going to be the Anti-Monitor. So the Anti-Monitor in the Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earth, tries to use this antimatter gun that was going to destroy Earth, and Bary Allan uses the Speed Force to absorb that antimatter energy to save Earth. But by doing so, he ends up what appeared to be he disintegrated. What really happened is that he went into the Speed Force.
Okay. Which
you don't find out until Flash Rebirth. So from 1985 until Flash Rebirth came out in, let's say somewhere in here.
Oh wow.
I want to say 2005, I think.
What's that publication?
2009 to 2010.
DC, Flash Rebirth? Or, better yet, Final Crisis. Actually, he came back in Final Crisis, which is why I brought this here.
Ah, okay.
It was actually in Final Crisis. So, in Final Crisis, I'm not going to get into Final Crisis too much, but in Final Crisis, you see Bary Allan come back, and he's running away from death.
One of the black speedsters?
Yes. Let me find that page here.
Those things are fucking deadly.
Yeah, you actually see them in...
You see them in the show.
Yeah.
This one's got, what, like a sword? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That right there. As you see him running away from death from the Speed Force. So, let's say 2008, you said? So... From 1985 to 2008, Bary Allan's been dead.
Supposedly. Running his ass off in that Speed Force.
Exactly.
Trying to outrun death.
Now, he has made appearances here and there throughout these 23 years.
Oh, he does pop up?
But like he was depicted like in heaven and stuff like that, like little appearances here and there. But he's been dead for 23 years for everybody. So, and they've never really done that with any other character. Hal Jordan was dead for 5 years, I want to say.
And then they brought him back.
5, maybe 10 years. Yeah, but they brought him back.
Yeah.
Batman was dead for a year. Superman was dead for, I don't even think, a year.
Huh.
Yeah.
When did Batman die?
In Final Crisis.
Oh, shit. Oh, my.
Yeah.
We'll have to cover that event.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, so Bary Allan was dead for 23 years.
That's a long time.
So when Bary Allan got brought back, there was a lot of backlash to it because everybody who grew up reading The Flash grew up with Wally West as the Flash. So nobody wanted their Flash to be replaced by this Bary Allan. Who's this Bary Allan?
So that's why they kept them both.
That's right. That's why when you watch the Justice League Unlimited, it's all Wally West.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Now, funny enough, and I'm purposefully being very vague on Wally because we are going to do a separate episode on Wally West. When we decided we're going to do an episode on The Flash, I felt like it'd be impossible to do The Flash in entirety in one episode.
Too many speedsters.
Well, considering how important Wally West is and how important Bary Allan is, they're both equally as important.
And we covered Jay and Barry in this one. We still have to cover Bart Allan too.
We do.
Bart and Wally will probably cover in the next one.
Yeah, because Wally West is actually the nephew of Iris West, who becomes Barry's wife, and he ends up becoming the Flash's sidekick. He becomes Kid Flash. Mm-hmm. Bart Allan becomes Wally West's sidekick.
Right.
So we'll talk about Bart Allan more, even though Bart Allan is more related to Bary Allan, being his grandson, but
he's more connected with Wally.
That's right. So we'll talk about him in our episode when we talk about Wally West.
Exactly.
So we talked about fucking dog hair.
We did Rebirth, where basically he goes back, kills his mom. Barry goes back in time to try and stop him from killing his mom.
No,
we didn't really talk about it.
No, we have not, because that is Flashpoint. So,
which brings us to our next topic.
That's right. So, Flashpoint. In previous episodes, you might have heard us talk about the New 52. Where in the New 52, they restarted a bunch of different ideas. They rebooted a lot of origins and pretty much remodernized a bunch of characters. Try to bring it back to the modern age. Instead of Superman being from the 1940s, he's now from the 1980s kind of idea. And same with Batman and all that. Make them more relevant to their age now, as opposed to what age they would be if they would have kept the same continuity going back to the 1950s.
Well, yeah, because it's kind of hard to write a bunch of old geezer superheroes.
That's right. And yes, there is that superheroes grow much grow old much slower in comics. But eventually, you're going to start writing yourself into like a hole. Like, I remember reading a Spider-Man comic where they do a flashback, and the flashback is during a disco. And this was like in the 1990s. So that means that they were around in the 70s. That puts Spider-Man, and he was already a teenager by then, so that puts Spider-Man at like 40-something. So it doesn't make any sense. So they had to do something like this. So Flashpoint was the catalyst to New 52.
Where they were able to just refresh and give everyone a new lift.
That's right.
Nice.
So what happens in Flashpoint, they actually do this. They do this in the Arrowverse, and there's actually an animated movie called Flashpoint Paradox, yep. Which is pretty faithful to the Flashpoint comic.
Yeah, it's him versus Professor Zoom or Reverse Flash.
Yeah, both on.
Yep.
Yeah. So Barry goes back in time and tries to save his mom. He succeeds. He prevents his mom from being killed by Earbud Thawne. But by doing so, changed everything. There's a scene in Flashpoint where Earbud Thawne is talking to Barry, and he tells him, You've heard of a sonic boom. You break the sound barrier, sonic boom. Well, you broke the time barrier, time boom. Even though so every little change that you did, even though you would think that saving your mom would have no effect on these other people's lives, it did. So because he saved his mom never died. He never becomes the Flash.
Yeah.
But on top of that, many different things changed. Superman was not found by Ma and Pa Kent. He was found by
the Luthers.
No, he was found by the military.
Oh,
by the U.S.
right.
military.
And then he never got to see the yellow sun.
That's right.
He was kept in containment, and Superman never became Superman.
That's right. In Crime Alley, Bruce Wayne gets shot by the criminal, and Thomas Wayne ends up becoming Batman.
This timeline, oh God, Martha Wayne becomes
the Joker.
The Joker.
Yes.
This is a fucked up Flashpoint paradox.
Yes. Aquaman and Wonder Woman are at war. The Atlanteans versus
lovers then at war.
Yes. Yes. So this was all because Bary Allan went back in time and saved his mom.
He fucked everything up.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the end of Flashpoint, Bary Allan ends up resetting time. His mom dies like she was supposed to, and he reset the time the way it's supposed to be. Sort of. Because when Flashpoint ended, New 52 began, and that's where all the different origins started.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
That timeline, like that whole event, I loved it.
Yeah.
Just like the repercussions.
Yeah.
The crazy what ifs.
Yeah. Which I was really hoping they were going to do that in the movies, because in Batman v Superman, when you shown Bruce Wayne's parents get killed, the guy who plays Thomas Wayne is let me Google his name real quick. It's Sam and Dean's dad.
Oh, Negan.
Yeah.
Is that?
Hmm?
In which?
In Batman v Superman, he plays Thomas Wayne. He plays Bruce Wayne's
really?
dad. Yeah.
I never noticed that.
Yeah. Billy D. Morgan or something like that.
That's hilarious.
Jeffrey D. Morgan.
That would be great
Yeah.
if they threw him in as old Batman.
Right?
Thomas
Jeffrey
Wayne.
Dean Morgan as
Rough,
old man.
tough,
Batman.
old man Batman.
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. So
How do they retcon that? How do they retcon that?
I don't know. But I was hoping that was going to happen, because I would love to see him as Thomas Wayne Batman.
Well, they could, because they didn't do the Flashpoint timeline yet.
No, they haven't in the DCU, but
they've introduced him as Thomas Wayne, so now if they do,
the doorway is there.
Yes,
the doorway is there.
They could make this happen.
Yeah,
and then, oh God, who do they got playing his mom?
I don't know.
They didn't show her ever, did they?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Did they?
Yeah.
Because I remember who they got playing.
They made a big focus of her name.
Oh, I know. I know. Martha. Oh, both Martha. Oh, I can't kill you now. What? But that would be wicked to see them reprise the roles as Batman and Joker.
Yeah.
And to watch Aquaman and Wonder Woman wage war against each other.
Yeah.
That would make a good movie, because at the end of it, you could all go, just kidding, didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a one-off movie.
It'd be a one-off movie. There wouldn't be need for a number 2.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, okay, at the end of it, you just show the Flash doing his thing, and phew, glad that never happened.
And then at that point here, they could ignore the events that happened in Superman, Man of Steel, and Batman v Superman.
They could rewrite their whole timeline. Their whole Justice League timeline could get rewrote.
Exactly.
And then written better.
Exactly.
The doorways are there.
Exactly.
How do we make this happen?
Yeah.
Our fans. You guys got to help us. Got to spread the news of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Flashpoint. We've covered Rebirth. Have we talked really about the Speed Force?
No. So that's why I want to get back to, get rid of all this, get back to my notes here, and let's talk about his death. So let's talk about like his personality as well. So when Bary Allan came back, the event that happened right after Flash Rebirth was Blackest Night. And during Blackest Night, Barry was pretty prominent in Blackest Night. It was Bary Allan and Hal Jordan. And Barry and Hal Jordan, before Bary Allan died, they were best friends.
Yep.
So when he got back, Hal Jordan had just came back as well. So they rekindled their friendship. They're best friends. So during Blackest Night, they teamed up again. And during Blackest Night, we'll have to do a separate episode on that.
That's gonna be a whole event. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so big. But
that's with the Lantern Corps.
That's right. But
I'll tell you that. That's with the Lantern Corps.
And then
a lot of Lantern Corps.
Yeah. First, when you talk about the Green Lanterns, then we'll get into Blackest Night.
That'll be like definitely next year.
Yeah. But so during Blackest Night, Bary Allan becomes a Blue Lantern. Ooh. And the Blue Lanterns is the lantern for the spectrum of the emotion of hope.
Yes.
And that's very appropriate for Bary Allan, because Bary Allan is a very hopeful guy. He is, when you think about like a Boy Scout, like the quintessential hero, the aspirational,
the forever optimist.
That's right.
Because he knows that even though he failed now, he's gonna try in a different timeline or a different, like he's always willing to try something else.
Yeah. Batman is a dark and brooding. Bary Allan is the hopeful, optimistic.
Yeah. Cold and calculated versus, open, warm, and friendly.
That's right. Matter of fact, there's a quote here I wrote down from Batman.
It was a great quote.
Batman says, "Barry is the kind of man I would hope to become if my parents was not murdered."
Yeah, so if he didn't grow up his whole life with a chip on his shoulder and wanting revenge, etc., etc.,
he would have hoped to have been more like Barry.
Yeah. If he didn't have a greater calling and a bigger role to play in Gotham, yes, he would have wanted that to be him.
Yeah. So just to give you an idea of who Bary Allan is, which they've done an alright job in the Arrowverse. I find in the Arrowverse he kind of is a little bit too mopey.
Oh, he's always sad about something.
Yeah.
Failed girlfriend, or the team's just not there, or he's not giving his
a lot.
spirit.
He whines a lot. Yeah. I find, but that's like the Arrowverse.
It's like a face. It's the face. He just does like a pout.
They all do, though. I mean, Oliver Queen whines a lot. Barry whines.
He self-hates.
Yeah.
Oliver self-hates. They all self-hate.
Yeah.
Well, Barry doesn't self-hate. He kind of self-destructs in the sense that he's like
he has a weight on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they do an all right job of representing him. And then you have, he's got a weird name. The guy who plays the Flash in Justice League.
I forget his name.
Ezra Miller. Thank you. He's really good too. He was more. I find he played more of a Wally West than a Bary Allan.
More comical. More comic relief. Not like your Prince Charming kind of guy. Like that's kind of more Barry.
Yeah.
Like he's your valedictorian.
Yeah. But Wally West is also much more hot-headed, and he didn't portray that in Justice League. But we didn't get a lot of character development on his part in that movie.
There's next to none.
What's that?
There's next to no character development on Flash. It was Bruce had footage of him speeding somewhere, and then he shows up at his place.
Well, a little bit of character development, like when they were in that sewer and he froze. He didn't know what to do. He's never fought anybody before, and Batman just tells him, "You'll know what to do." That, I guess you could consider that character development.
Sure.
That was their attempt at character development.
Yeah, like they had some weak intros in that, like Cyborg. Weak ass intro, like no intro.
No, tell me something about Cyborg from that movie.
I don't know.
He was a football player.
Yeah. Did they touch on that in the movie?
They didn't touch on shit, man.
They showed a picture of him one time.
Okay.
Playing football.
Okay.
And he was reminiscing about it.
Okay.
other than that, his auto updates need a firewall or
Yeah.
something. That's what I learned about him.
Well, that's just, and that
He
was
wakes up with new upgrades.
I think that was a big problem with Justice League. When you compare Justice League to Guardians of the Galaxy, can you tell me anything about any of the characters in Justice League? We know more about Aquaman because of the Aquaman movie, but from Justice League, if you just look at Justice League by itself, I don't know fuck all about Aquaman. What's he like? What does he like? What's he hate? Yeah, exactly. So
He started spitting truth at one point when he picked up a lasso. That's all I know.
yeah, exactly. It's just, you know very little about any of these characters. Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy, you got to know every one of those characters right on in that first movie.
Their personas, their likes, their dislikes, how they're gonna react and behave to things.
Yeah.
It was much better development. But it's what we get when you're trying to rush and pack an entire event into one movie.
That's right. But I was gonna say that was my point. The Guardians of the Galaxy was one movie, and we got all those character developments.
We got introduced Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor individually in
that's
over
Avengers.
3 different movies.
Yeah, that's
what I mean.
Well, if you compare,
we didn't get any of that for Flash. Like we didn't even get one.
No,
we didn't even get one for Cyborg.
We didn't get that for Gamora either. Though we didn't get that for.
We didn't need it for them.
No, we didn't.
No,
we didn't. And that's my point. Is that you got all that character development in Guardians, in one movie, which is why I love that movie. That movie is great for what it managed to do.
Managed to do a lot. Bring outer space, other planets, like entire solar systems into perspective without over cramming or making it seem clumpy. It was good.
Yeah. So let's talk about Bary's powers now.
Okay.
So the Speed Force. So when Bary Allan runs, the Speed Force is the energy that gives him his powers.
It protects him essentially as he runs, so that as he runs, he's not just hitting atoms in the air, making them, explode, causing massive nuclear bursts of radiation everywhere.
That's right.
Which would be what would happen, because at the speed he runs, he would literally tear through molecules and atoms as he ran.
Yeah.
But the Speed Force essentially gives him that lubricant to run right through.
Yeah. One source of information I like to use, because they do some really in-depth scientific research, is Death Battle. And in Death Battle, they actually found out that Bary Allan could actually run at 10 times the speed of light.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fast. He once won a race against someone who could instantaneously teleport.
Yeah, I think that was Wally, actually.
Was that actually Wally?
I think that was Wally.
Maybe Wally, okay. He cheated, though, kind of, because he got the whole Earth to harness their power. Yeah, power to...
Definitely Wally, because Wally has that ability.
Boost.
Wally has the ability to siphon speed from other people to increase his own speed.
That's wicked.
Yeah. We'll go more onto that when we talk about Wally, but...
Wally, Wally's a cool character. Yeah.
So, Bary... You find out in Flash Rebirth that the more that Bary Allan runs, the bigger the Speed Force gets. He feeds the Speed Force. So imagine building a house brick by brick. The more the Flash runs, it's building more, putting more bricks in his house.
So he just gets faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And then when Bary Allan died, he ended up going into this Speed Force that he himself created.
And then he kept running.
Yeah. Making it even bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right. And so how does he really tap into it? It's just kind of something he feels, right?
Yeah.
And he's able to manipulate and break a lot of laws of physics.
Yeah. All right. So let me read off some of the things. Okay. So he runs 10 times the speed of light. He can perceive events at an attosecond. Now, let me tell you what an attosecond is. An attosecond is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 zeros and a 1 of a second. The smallest unit of time that's ever been measured by a human being is 1/12 of a nanosecond. And Bary Allan could perceive an event at an attosecond, at less than a nanosecond. One time, Bary was actually made a comment about the supercomputer that's the Justice League supercomputer that's in the Watchtower.
Yeah.
Saying that the supercomputer was running slow. This supercomputer can process 100,000 trillion calculations per second, and to Bary Allan that was slow. Just to give you an idea on
Everyone's
how,
like, what?
just to give you an idea on how fast his brain works.
That's ridiculous. He should be like the smartest person on earth then.
Oh, well, the thing is that he can only retain information in his short-term memory, so.
Oh, so bad. So it's like, okay, he uses it for like 5 minutes. And I don't remember.
Exactly, pretty much, yeah.
I don't remember.
So there was actually this one story where this building was collapsing. Bary Allan went into that building, saved everybody in that building as it was collapsing, ran to the local library, read everything on engineering on how to build a building, went back and rebuilt that building before the cops ever showed up. Yeah.
Cops show up, he tells them the story, and then he's like, I honestly don't remember how I built it. I hope it's the code.
Yeah. Now, just because we will talk about this more in the next episode when we talk about Wally, but then when we'll touch base more on Bart. But that was one significant thing about Bart Allan, is that Bart Allan, he could do the same thing, but it's not just his short-term memory. He could process information as fast, but he retains everything. So Bart Allan is a super genius.
Oh, that's wicked.
Yeah.
Better than Reed?
Well, different universe.
Or sorry, who's the big brains in DC?
The Atom, I would say.
The Atom, huh?
Yeah.
So probably on par.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Mr. Terrific also is pretty up there.
Pretty smart. Yeah.
Yeah. What else do I have written down? But yeah, so he's immune.
He's able to throw lightning bolts.
He's
create whirlwinds.
Yeah.
Remove the air from places.
He could run on clouds.
Run on clouds.
Yeah.
Did not know the water molecules.
Yeah, he could vibrate his feet to the point where he could actually use the water molecules as stepping blocks as he's running on clouds.
Well, he can vibrate, like you said,
yeah.
through materials.
He can phase through. Yeah.
Except for what material is it? There's one material that he can't phase through.
I didn't write that down.
We'll get our guy in the chair here to look it up.
Yeah.
So he can essentially move his arms so fast he can create tornadoes.
Yeah.
To either blow people away or actually suck the air out of the environment or the room.
Going back to his how fast he can perceive information, that's the reason why he's also immune to telepathic attacks. Because his brain moves so fast, he can change thoughts so quickly that it makes it impossible for anybody to try to attack him mentally. That being said, he has been mind controlled before.
Ooh,
I'll go over that in a second I'll go over that in a second.
We're done listening.
There's a reason why I'm saving that one for afterwards.
Okay.
He could time travel, as we mentioned, but to time travel, he has to use the cosmic treadmill.
Yep. So they change it to like his running track.
Yeah.
In the show.
In a show, yeah.
It's like a track that he just runs on.
That's right. But in the comics, it's a treadmill. They call it the cosmic treadmill. He gets on that and he could, yeah. Yeah. No, I like the track a lot better.
Makes a little more sense.
Yeah. Phase through objects.
He's got his infinite mass punch.
I was going to say, yeah, the infinite mass punch. So, to consider the fact he could run at 10 times the speed of light. If I'm not going to get into the physics of it, but essentially, because he can move so fast, his punch could literally be infinite mass.
Well, E equals MC squared. So essentially, speed, more speed, more mass.
Yeah, exactly. And since he could essentially have unlimited speed,
so he can just vibrate his hand at that speed that he can run at.
Yeah.
And then stand still and just
yeah,
and hit you like the strength of a dwarf star?
White dwarf star.
White dwarf star?
Which he never would, aside from the fact that it'll actually kill anything that he punched. But on top of that, it would actually punch a black hole. So theoretically, the Flash is so strong that he could actually punch a black hole into existence.
Fuck this universe.
Yeah.
Literally, you can wipe out everything. Like,
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, how hard do you think he's ever hit someone?
Well,
How much do you think he's like not held back?
Well, this is Wally, not Barry. But Wally once had to run at the speed of light to hit the Reverse Flash with the Infinite Mass Punch, and which punched him into the atmosphere and landed in Africa from like New York.
But he lived. And no black hole.
Yeah, well, because he had to hold back.
A lot.
Yeah.
Damn it.
You find out what he can face through.
So from what I can see, he can only phase through things made of atoms. So there are some substances that don't have that
Are without?
are without atoms.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. Like
Comics are weird.
Yeah.
Well, for example, in the...
I suppose if they ever did a Marvel DC, which they have done crossovers, I suppose that means maybe the Flash wouldn't be able to phase through vibranium.
There's speculation about him not being able to phase through vibranium.
Well, in the last episode that they have right now on Netflix, anyways, of The Flash, they're in this, like, subway tunnel or something, and the one...
Wells?
Wells is...
Yeah,
you know,
he's looking for titanium, I think it
well,
was.
whatever's in this wall,
Yeah. He
Barry
mentioned
comes
it.
down and tries to run through it.
And he couldn't?
And he can't run through it, and he's like, oh, it's made of blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Eternium or something.
Eternium, that's what it is.
Eternium.
Yeah. And I think Eternium is the material used to create Wonder Woman's unbreakable bracelets.
So that makes sense why he can't phase through.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I wonder what would happen if he tried to run. Can he run through a person?
Yeah.
What if he tried to run through Wonder Woman and she's like, ah.
Well, it just means he can't run through her wrists.
Yeah, if she tries to block, well, oh man, part of him gets through and part of him doesn't.
Yeah.
He'd just like die.
Yeah. But like, for instance, the classic scene of Eobard Thawne phases his hand through Cisco's heart.
Yes.
Well, he does that often in comics. Like, he phases his hand through somebody's head. If I stop, you're dead. It doesn't matter how strong you are, how invincible you are.
My hand's in your head.
My hand is inside your brain. If I stop vibrating, you're going to die. Insta-kill.
Yeah. Has Barry ever done it?
He can.
Do you think he would?
No.
No.
No, never.
Never.
Never. No. As much as I stand on Batman and Superman do not kill, they would kill before Barry. But Barry has killed, actually. Like I said, he accidentally broke Eobard Thawne's neck.
Total accident, though.
Total accident.
He thought he'd heal anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's another thing. They have a healing factor.
They do. Because of their increased metabolism. With
Such an increased metabolism.
Yeah, so because of the amount of energy speedsters have to go through, they also have to eat a lot.
It's like thousands of burgers and shakes a day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
In terms of calories of what he needs.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how he affords it.
No, even then, like I'm pretty sure there is no food on Earth that can supply the amount of energy that he requires to be able to do what he does. Thankfully, the Speed Force feeds that energy required to do what he does.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, he would eat the world out of house and home.
Yeah. So, notable allies I want to talk about. You have his wife, Iris West.
Yep.
Which, like we mentioned, she's from the 30th century. You have Wally West, which is her nephew. I guess adopted, because she was adopted. Wally is not from the future.
Right.
You have
Son
Jay
of
Garrick.
Joe West, though? No.
I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, not son of Joe West. Like I said, so in the show, he's her brother. But in the comics, it's actually her nephew.
Ah.
Yeah. So that means she has an adopted brother or sister or something. You have Jay Garrick, Bart Allan, although my autocorrect changed that to Bark Allan.
Oh, I thought there was another person. I'm like, I don't know Bart. I read that.
No, Bart Allan.
Okay.
And then Hal Jordan are his notable allies, like
Main crew.
Main crew, yeah, like the entire Justice League are his friends.
Cisco Ramon is made up in the show.
Yeah.
Elongated Man, he doesn't probably have much interaction with.
No, but I'm sure they're friends in the comics.
Yeah.
But there's no real focus on that friendship.
No, like Firestorm, for example, Killer Frost, like.
Well, Killer Frost is a villain in the comics.
Well, in the show she was too for a while.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, then they turned her into a hero because, well, they like the actor.
Caitlin.
Yeah. And notable villains, Eobard Thawne, we've talked in great lengths about, which was Professor Zoom, also known as Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
Abracadabra, one of the first Flash comics I ever read, was against Abracadabra.
A magician.
Sort of. He is a magician from the 25th century as well. He's from the future.
So he uses technology that's so advanced that it seems like magic.
That's right.
I remember him.
That's
We see him in like season 3 or 4 of Flash, I think.
Yeah. And he is a more prominent villain of the Flash as well. He is one of his major enemies. One of his arch enemies, like Spider-Man's arch enemies. It's not just Green Goblin. You have Green Goblin. You also have Dr. Octopus. You also have Venom. So he has some numerous. He doesn't just have one arch enemy. So Flash. It's not just Eobard Thawne. Abracadabra is one of his arch nemesis as well. Yeah. Captain Cold as well.
Yeah, you see lots of him in the show.
Yeah, and in the comics as well. He is one of his arch nemesis as well. Captain Cold is actually very intelligent, like they have shown in the show as well. Like not like a super genius or anything like that, but he's clever. He's quick. He's quick on the thought. He could figure things out very quickly.
Manipulative.
He's manipulative, but like
resourceful too. In
Blackest Night, fighting against the Black Lanterns, you have to. Black Lanterns feed off of emotions, any emotions at all. And Captain Cold, Leonard Snart, actually figured that out very quickly and stopped showing any emotions at all to defeat the Black Lantern. So he's very quick thinking.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, he is very intelligent.
Yeah, they show that pretty well.
Yeah.
He's usually like his intelligence is overruled by some other need of his, though.
Yeah.
Where it's like he's impulsive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where his impulse will screw over his intelligence.
Yeah. But in the show, they did touch a lot on his code as well. He does have a code. All the rogues have a code. So the Flash has... So Spider-Man has the Sinister Six. The Flash has the Rogues. The Rogues is a group of villains that Flash has fought over the years, and they've band together to try and stop the Flash. Because individually they can't do it, but maybe together they can. They can.
They can. They work together sometimes,
yeah.
But sometimes they get in each other's way.
Yeah. Captain Cold is typically
the leader.
Yeah, the Rogues. But they all have a code. They'll never kill children. I'm pretty sure women and children they won't kill. And women and children, and there was something else. But anyways, they have a code. There's certain things that they'll never do. They'll never cross that line.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
It's nice for your villains to have a line they don't cross.
Mirror Master as well is another one of his major villains as well.
And he's an interesting character.
Yeah. Yeah. Different versions, different depictions of Mirror Master. We talked about the Trickster a little bit. That was portrayed by Mark Hamill. Yeah. And then Gorilla Grodd as well is one of his major villains as well.
Yeah, and now in the show they show Gorilla Grodd mind controlling and messing with Bary's head a little bit.
Yeah, in which in the comics really he can't, like he
shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, he's immune to that stuff. So, but like I said, let's actually I'm going to talk about his other appearances as well. So, since we're talking about the villains as well, I want to talk a little bit about some of my favorite episodes from Justice League Unlimited, Justice League Young Justice.
Yep.
So various other media. Although a lot of this was Wally West, not Bary Allan, so technically I could save this when we talk about Wally West, really. But there's this one episode in Justice League, 2 episodes in Justice League that I really liked. That they really showed like good Flash-centered episodes. Mm-hmm. One of them is where they open the Flash Museum.
It's a good one.
Yeah, and throughout this episode, like Flash is making jokes and being silly and being lighthearted.
This is Wally.
This is Wally.
Yep.
And who was it that thinks that he's just a fop? One of the it's Batman and somebody else thinks that the Flash. But Batman knows who Wally West is. He knows who the Flash is.
Yeah.
But this other person thinks that Wally is just a joke. He's a joke. He's a fop. He doesn't take anything seriously. But there's this one scene where they're at the bar and the trickster Wally ends up bringing the trickster into the bar and having a drink with him. And he's like, sits him down. He's like, "You're off your meds again, aren't you?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, he's talking to him like he was his friend and everything like that. That's the Flash. When going back talking about like
he cares.
Hopeful, he cares about his villains.
He cares about his villains. Yes, yeah. That's the funny thing. He'll even stop to have a conversation and be like, "Why are you doing this?"
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm trying to get to like.
He honestly tries to rehabilitate him.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even he works with Snark a few times.
Yeah.
Right, Captain Cold. So.
Yeah.
He tries.
And the other episode that I really liked that focused on the Flash was not really a focus on the Flash, but they really showed his power. And actually, in the Justice League, there's something else. So in the Justice League, they talk about the Justice Lords. An alternate reality where Superman and the Justice League all went bad. And once again...
It was all because Flash died.
Exactly. Once again, the Flash was a catalyst or something.
He's their moral compass.
Yeah.
He's the one that's going to be like, guys, we shouldn't do this.
Yeah. And then Lex Luthor, as the president, kills the Flash, which drives Superman over the edge, ends up killing Lex Luthor, which started the Justice Lords. So in this episode that I'm actually talking about, it's actually Brainiac. Brainiac ends up taking over Lex's body, but then Lex makes a deal with Brainiac, and they end up actually coexisting in his body. So it's like exactly, exactly, and they were OP. Like they were taking out the entire Justice League. Yeah. And the other one that was left standing was the Flash.
So he keeps running around the world punching him, doesn't he?
Yeah. So he's like, just you. Looks like I get to kill you after all. And then Flash is like, nope. And he just starts running off. And he thinks that he's running away from the fight. But no. He runs all the way around the world and punches him. And does it again. And again. And again. As he's doing it, he's slowly taking off bits and pieces
of his armor.
Of the Brainiac armor until there's nothing left. It's just Lex Luthor. But yeah. The entire Justice League went down to this Brainiac Lex Luthor hybrid. The Flash took him out.
Yeah, solo.
Yeah.
Solo.
Yeah. That's why in my opinion, the Flash is one of the most powerful characters in the Justice League.
Yeah, and it's his own moral compass that weakens him and holds him back sometimes.
Yeah. From
being like the Omega Superman sometimes.
Yeah. He can kill Superman. Because easily just phase his brain. Yeah. Like I said, doesn't matter how powerful or how strong or how tough you are, dead.
Yeah.
Insta kill.
Yeah. I went through your molecules. It doesn't matter that your molecules are very tough.
No, doesn't matter.
I went through them.
Yeah. Matter of fact, so getting on to the last thing I wanted to talk about this episode on Bary Allan is the big question most people will have about the Flash is who's faster between the Flash or Superman?
Flash, hands down.
How many times have they raced? So I actually went online and I went 6 times.
Majority of them have been for charity.
Yeah, so the first time they raced was 1967, and it was for charity. And so in this race, a bunch of people, this is a worldwide event. Everybody stopped what they were doing. Like everybody took the day off. Everybody was making bets around the world on who's going to win between Flash and Superman. Who's the fastest between Flash and Superman? There was 2 crime organizations, crime syndicates actually started getting on this betting as well. And one was betting on the Flash, and one was betting on Superman. and because this is two different crime syndicates, they wanted to fix the fight. So there was the crime syndicate that was betting on Superman ends up capturing the Flash and then replace him with an actor pretending to be the Flash. And then the other crime syndicate capturing Superman and replace him with an actor to throw the fight. So it ends up an actor pretending to be the Flash and an actor pretending to be Superman facing against each other, and both of them didn't want to run because they both wanted to lose for their crime syndicate. So they just stood there pretty much. And then Flash and Superman managed to break free and stop these two imposters, and they actually did their race.
Oh my god.
And at the end of this race, they actually finished in a tie. So that one was a tie.
Wow, they let them win in a tie.
Yeah. So later that same year in 1967, they ended up having another race. This time they were forced to race by aliens. And the loser would have their city destroyed. Yeah. So in this one here, they ended up racing, but they ended up finding a way to defeat these aliens, and then the ending of the race was very ambiguous. So at the end of the race, like there's some angles where you see Superman who's beating the Flash, and some angles the Flash is beating Superman. So it's very ambiguous, so count that one as a tie as well. So far, no clear winner on who's faster between Flash and Superman. 1970 was the next one.
Who's the one judging these? Like, who's gonna see these fucking guys running at the speed of light?
I don't know. So in 1970, here's a terminology that people might be familiar with if you watch Legends of Tomorrow. There was these acronyms.
Yeah.
Or anacronyms. These anacronyms, which is distortions of these beings that are a distortion of time.
Things that shouldn't be or shouldn't be there.
Exactly. And to defeat them, I think this is one where they had to run on opposite directions to try and offset this time thing. I didn't write too much notes on this because it was just very convoluted story, and like I don't care. I just want to know who wins. And this one here, they do end up legitimately racing against each other. Then at the end, they were so exhausted from the running that they were both out of energy, and you see them both like crawling to get to this switch to stop the acronyms and then Bary got to the switch and flicked it. So and then said, "I win." So he barely won, but he won, and it's funny because like Superman's like we started off on foot, and now we're finished this race, worming our way to the end, just crawling to the end, kind of thing.
So they just wore each other right the fuck out.
Yeah. So that was a story in 1978. And then they don't. Superman ends up racing Wally a few times, but I wanted to keep this on Bary. So the next time they raced wasn't again until 2009. So in 2009, this is when blows everything out. This is the one where it makes everything very clear on who's faster. So in 2009, there was this event where forgot why, but Bary was running to go into the Speed Force, and Superman was trying to stop him from going to the Speed Force for some reason. So Superman is chasing after Bary, and Superman says that Bary, we've done this race before, and in some cases I've even won these races, even though according to my score chart he hasn't won one yet. But he said we've raced before, and sometimes I've even beaten you. And then Bary looks at him and is like, I even wrote down the quote.
Not racing for charity.
Those were for charity. Those were for charity, Clark. And it just speeds off. Like there wasn't even a chance. Like it wasn't even like going a little bit faster. No, like those were for charity, Clark. Gone.
See ya.
Yeah. Like there was not even
No question about it.
No.
He's like, oh, I don't have the gear.
No. No. Barry just turned up to 11. Clark goes to 10.
I go to 9.
Yeah. And then the last time they've raced was actually in 2011. Once again, not really a race per se, but this is the time where I said that Bary Allan did actually get mind controlled. So there was this headband from this Kryptonian headband that ends up getting put on Barry and is being controlled by somebody else.
Oh.
So it's not a mental attack by a psychic, it's a machine that's controlling his mind, but he is being controlled by somebody else that's controlling this headband.
Oh.
And as he's running, Superman ends up having to chase after Bary Allan and had to catch him to take the headband off. And he does it. Superman actually runs to Barry and actually manages to catch up to him to grab him to get the headband on. So technically, Superman did win one race against Barry because he did have to run faster than Barry to catch him to take the headband off.
Right.
But at the end of that story, Barry tells him that he let him get caught up. He wasn't using his full speed. That he let Superman win that one.
Because the machine probably can't fully tap into the Speed Force the way Barry knows how to.
And it wasn't fully controlling him, obviously.
Yeah, so he's kind of like, no, stop. So he's like hitting the brake as the thing's still going full tilt.
Exactly. He was fighting against the controls. Yeah. And then Superman caught up and took out the headband.
Okay, so we're going to say Barry.
Barry is faster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And Wally's faster than Barry?
Yes. From all accounts.
Who's the fastest of them all?
Wally.
Alright.
Wally is the fastest.
So we'll get to Wally in our next episode, Future Flashes.
Future episode, yes.
Future Flashes.
Yes.
Because over the next few episodes, have we picked our roster here?
Yeah, so what do we got for next episode?
Man in the chair here's going to pull up our script. We got... I believe we have Killer Frost coming up in the next few days, and we got Iceman.
That's right, we're doing our winter theme.
Winter Wonderland theme.
Yeah.
Will we do a Captain Cold?
We can.
We could do a Captain Cold. We could throw Snark in there.
But see, here's the thing: is that I think the reason why we weren't going to do it is because all these ice characters are all DC focused. Like it would be like a month of DC.
Very true.
So next week is Joker.
Ooh.
So we have Joker, and I did get around to finally seeing the Joker movie the other day.
What'd you think?
I thought it was really good.
It was excellent.
I thought it was really good. I don't know if it's worth like going again to see in the theater because it's like I got the story. It's one of those movies where like you get to the end, it's like okay.
No, it's heady.
Yeah.
When I left that movie, I felt like I needed to digest that movie.
Yes, there's parts of it I need to digest again.
Yeah.
And then we have Killer Frost, followed by Iceman.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay.
Cool.
So, who's after Joker? Joker, Killer Frost, Iceman?
Yeah.
And then do we have a fourth pick?
No, I think at that point, after that we were at a loss as to...
we were trying to get the fan vote going.
Yeah. I've got another idea for what we could do afterward. We'll talk about that off air.
Excellent. All right. So, thanks for tuning in for, I believe this is episode 29 here.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Stay tuned for next week's episode. If you missed any of this, there'll be a rerun starting probably 6:45, and we'll be on air live at 8 as usual with Joker. So if you haven't seen the new movie, go check it out. It's
Absolutely.
in theater.
Worth watching.
Definitely worth watching. Definitely a different story than you've ever heard or seen before, but true to the origins that you know.
True.
A little bit. At the end. Just at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good movie. Check it out. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. If you're not already following us, hit that button. Subscribe if you'd like, and check out our Instagram as well. We have all our other past episodes on YouTube too. Close to 30. So next week will be episode 30. We got lots of content for you guys to review, lots of characters and events being broken down. So get your fill. See you next week.
Cheers.